In this video, we're going to talk about a company called a Yes Madam, right? It's a company in India, and what they did was they ran a survey and used that as leverage to fire an employee or many employees. So let's learn a bit more about this case.
Obviously, the email outlined how the Delhi NCR-based firm conducted a survey to gauge employee stress levels, but instead of implementing measures to alleviate the pressure, opted to part ways with those who admitted to high stress. Now, the move has coupled with the email's unapologetically blunt tone has sparked widespread criticism. Now, social media users have accused the company of ignoring employee well-being and issues.
Which sounds completely ridiculous, because typically when you have a survey, whether it's anonymous or not, the company actually wants to use it in some productive way, even if it is an underhanded strategy in some ways. But to use it in such a way where they effectively identify employees that pose a risk to the company of a potential lawsuit, class action lawsuit, employees getting together to pursue action against the company, and then what they're effectively doing is firing those employees, which is a bit crazy to do. So let's learn a bit more about the case here. So here it says an article about this. Yes Madam fires employees after asking if they're stressed. The HR email goes viral. It was all over LinkedIn actually. It had millions of views. So let's learn a bit more about this case. So it starts with saying, Yes Madam is a salon home service startup, and it's found itself on the receiving end of internet outrage after firing its employees, who they said experienced significant amounts of stress due to workload in a survey due to something the company had conducted. And what's kind of funny is that this company is essentially like a health company, right? They offer facials, they offer kind of different treatments where you can order spa treatments to your home, a bit like ordering, getting a haircut at home, getting a facial service at home, getting all types of services that, like a massage, therapy, things like that. So it's kind of ironic that this is the type of company doing this. It's not some big conglomerate, like big bank or something that has this type of underhanded tactics. So let's look at the message that they actually sent. So they did the survey, and then what they did, they effectively fired these employees. So here we've got this little excerpt of their internal communication. Dear team, recently we conducted a survey to understand your feelings about stress at work. Many of you shared concerns, which we deeply value. As a company committed to fostering a healthy and supportive work environment, we have carefully considered the feedback. To ensure that no one remains stressed at work, we've made the difficult decision to part way with employees who indicate significant levels of stress. The decision is effective immediately, and the impacted employees will receive further details separately. Thank you for your contributions. So it's kind of funny. If you look at the paragraph in the middle, it says, to ensure no one remains stressed at work, we have made the difficult decision to part with these employees. So essentially it's kind of saying, oh, so you're not stressed at work, we'll just fire you so you're not at work and you don't feel stress, which is a bit ridiculous. And it does come across like companies just trying to protect itself from lawsuits, maybe because they are overworking employees, maybe there are rumors in the office that employees are feeling overworked and stressed, and the company, to prevent that backlash, had this survey, tried to get rid of these employees, and it's backfiring because it's gone viral now. Now, there's a couple key words that demonstrate the HR doublespeak, right? In the sense that HR say one thing but mean another. Here it says, we're committed to fostering a healthy and supportive work environment, which is completely fake, right? No company is really committed to that. They just want to exploit their employees to get as much work done out of them as possible. And the fact that they're firing employees who are exhibiting stress is completely contradicting fostering a healthy and supportive work environment. And all these type of double standards are things you'll pick up on when you're dealing with HR quite often. So, like I say, it's kind of a red flag for us to look out for. Sometimes you have employee surveys which you could complete. Typically, I recommend if you are completing them, even if they say they're anonymous, they're never really anonymous, and they do track who's completing these surveys, which is kind of weird because typically when they have a survey, even if they say it's anonymous, you'll receive reminders that, oh, you haven't completed it yet. So it's like they must be tracking which employees are completing the survey and which are not. But the general practice should just assume it's not anonymous, assume it's something that your manager might see, and just fill in the survey in such a way where just imagine the whole office are watching you. So typically that's why people would give more positive feedback to a company through these employee surveys, because you assume that they're watching you and they know what you're going to say. And if you exhibit kind of dissatisfaction with the company, or you're too critical about them in a survey, then you're like kind of shortlisted for layoffs at the back end. They're not going to discuss that with you, but I'm sure they look at that, right? And even if they don't have your name because it is somewhat anonymous, they might identify which teams are more unhappy with the workplace and they might look to lay them off. So these are all the type of things. You don't report on yourself, don't snitch on yourself. That's why you got to be careful about company surveys. You never think that the manager actually cares about you because, I remember an instance where I completed a survey and it was anonymous. And I didn't say anything controversial. This was around the time of the lockdowns. And I think in the free text box, I said something quite positive about how it allows for greater work-life flexibility. And there's many benefits from working from home, things like that. And I don't think it necessarily impacted my career, but I can imagine if they saw that at the back end, they might take a different interpretation of that and say, well, this guy, he doesn't want to work in the office. He just wants to work from home. Maybe we shouldn't keep him here. He doesn't understand the company culture of pulling people back to the office once it was time that they were allowed to do that. So it's little things like that. You're never sure who's actually interpreting it and who can actually use that as leverage against you. And what ended up happening after this particular instance, it created a lot of stress for people because people who were in the office who kept their job, they were not sure. They're basically being blindsided. They didn't expect that to be the reaction. And many people on LinkedIn were saying, oh, this move lacks empathy. It shows how counterproductive a lot of these employee surveys are, right? And it shows how companies are kind of failing to address the concerns of the employees. They're like identifying the issues, then getting rid of the employees instead of addressing the issue itself. And the thing is, right, it kind of shows how companies completely mistreat employees in a quite kind of blunt way. And what's kind of interesting here is that this company is not a big corporation. It's not some massive conglomerate. This isn't GlaxoSmithKline or Goldman Sachs. This is a relatively small company, and they were on Shark Tank, which is Shark Tank, Dragon's Den. You have these in the UK, in the US, where people will look for funding. So it's not like they're a super massive company, right? And what's quite funny here, this is a screenshot I took from their Shark Tank in India where they were looking for extra funding. And if you can see in the small writing under Yes Madam, it says hashtag your home salon and then hashtag empowering woman, right? And this kind of shows firstly, that feminism is impacting the world globally. It's not just Western countries, but also all companies have these kind of slogans that they find are the popular corporate slogan, right? In this case, it could be empowering women or employee mental health, things like that. But they never mean any of these things. They just know there's the current trend within the corporate environment to be pro certain things or be pro taking care of the environment or woman or the rainbow flag, things like that. So they kind of pick and choose these things that are completely meaningless drivel, right? Everyone knows it, they know it, we know it, and we get it evidenced in cases like this, right? But you would think if they were a startup, they had a bit more understanding, they're a bit more closer to the everyday person, that they're not like a detached billionaire CEO. They know how these kind of surveys could impact people, and they're not detached from the day-to-day work environment. They're not like a billionaire, like on a private jet. So you think they'd have better understanding, but they clearly don't, right? So like I say, it's ironic that offering home health treatments and treating employees completely negatively compared to that. So what's interesting is there was a backlash all over LinkedIn, all over social media, and then they decided to kind of put out this statement, which seems so contradictory. And again, HR doublespeak. Let's look through it. To our Yes Madam family and community, we sincerely apologise for any stress or distress caused by recent social media posts suggested we dismissed employees for being stressed. We would never take such an inhumane step. Our team is like a family. Again, another red flag. If they say team is like a family, work is like a family, of course that's not the case. It's talking about the employee dedication, hard work and passion is a foundation to their success. Social media posts were a planned effort to highlight the seriousness of workplace stress. And to those who voiced a strong opinion, we say thank you. And who have angry comments against us, thank you for that. So the whole point is they're basically responding to a backlash and trying to pretend that they're being patient and polite about it. Then it says, were Yes Madam employees really fired for being stressed? No. And then it repeats this another 4 times. So 5 times it's saying we're not firing stressed employees, which what I think really happened, they did the survey, identified stressed employees, fired them, then had the social media backlash, and probably before the whole layoff process was processed, they effectively kept these employees and didn't fire them because they don't want to get involved in any type of employee lawsuit, or people going to social media after they've been fired and saying, oh, they got rid of me, and then people rallying against this company, things like that. But it repeats it 4 times. Were people fired for being stressed? No. They weren't fired, they were given a break to reset. They were encouraged to release their stress. They weren't laid off, they were offered a chance to relax. They weren't sacked, they were urged to rest and recharge. So this is the type of all these kind of key buzzwords they're really emphasizing. It's fully loaded with a lot of those corporate buzzwords that are contradictory and that you don't need, right? And then they pretend that this is some kind of social experiment to help people see through work stress in general. And it's saying here, yes, madam, we chose to rewrite the narrative. It's time to flip the script. Let productivity take a back seat when needed to prioritize employee well-being. Happy employees build stronger businesses, and we're here to lead the way in creating a culture that reflects this belief. Again, a complete false thing. Not only are they rewriting the narrative in the sense they're suggesting that they're valuing employees and taking their well-being seriously. They're really rewriting the narrative of the negative media backlash of what they've done. It talks about here having a Happy to Heal program for their employees where they give them free massage and spa sessions. Then it has this de-stress leave policy, which is an additional 6 days of annual leave or time off work each year that people can get. So it kind of shows, right, this is, again, all these type of buzzwords that they're offering. And I wonder to what extent this de-stress extra leave that employees will be allowed to use. Or I think what it could be, it would be one of those things where, some companies, they say you can take as many days off as you want. But really, they don't mean that. What they mean is, there probably is a rough number of days that most employees take, and you should be in line with that. But if you take as many days off as you want, you probably won't be allowed to. You see some of these tech companies have these type of weird policies that, we don't track how many days you take off work. It's completely ridiculous. And I'm sure these 6 days of extra leave aren't really going to be used, or employees will kind of be in writing. They'll be encouraged to use it, but their manager directly will discourage them from using this. And then they have the classic company gaslighting. We firmly believe that the backbone of any great organization is not built on stressed shoulders, but happy minds. So again, just meaningless drivel. Let's make employee well-being the new norm. Let's create businesses that thrive on care, collaboration, and compassion. Right? Now, these are the things that type of words you would use when you're in like a real family relationship or genuine connection. But companies aren't really compassionate to their employees, right? Or care about their employees. There is collaboration, of course, teamwork, but things like that, right? Then saying, over to you, corporate and startup India, let's walk this path together. So what they're basically saying is, we didn't do anything wrong. It's really a broader issue with the workplace across India or across the world, and you need to take a path and take lessons from our leading steps by offering this de-stress policy and 6 additional days off and free massage therapy sessions for our employees. Other companies need to follow our lead. So it's completely ridiculous approach, right? Walking this path together. You're not really walking a path together with a company that could fire you after you say you're stressed on an employee survey. So it really does make you think about the dynamic. And like I said, it's a small company, family of 300 employees and 4,000 partners and growing stronger, right? So 300 employees, it's not a massive company. You think they would have a bit of a better connection with what's going on the ground. Like I say, it probably was initially triggered by employees saying they're stressed verbally in the office, and then the company tried to undermine them and get one step ahead to get rid of these employees. Now, this is why you need to understand corporate strategies. I've worked in finance for over 10 years, and I offer career advice so people can understand how to deal with these type of manipulative, double standard, mind games, HR saying they care about you, then they're trying to crush you at the same time. So if you're interested in genuine career advice, there's a link in the description to speak with me directly. Let me know what you think about Yes Madam in the comments. How have you dealt with employee surveys, anonymous or not? Has it ever changed anything? Probably not for the companies you work for. But let me know what you think about this and other employee surveys in the comments. 2 recommended videos on your screen right now, and I'll see you next time.